100xpreneur. Boost your entrepreneurial success. Fuel your entrepreneurial fire. Daily growth hacks and strategies are just a 100xpreneur episode away.
Hello everyone, today we are here in 100xpreneur with Desi Jagger. Desi Jagger is an amazing entrepreneur. She's a leadership coach for change, and she has a very international career since a long time that I meet her in United Kingdom. Hi Desi, how are you today?
Hi, Agus. It's really great to be reconnecting, like you said, after so many years from our student years, actually, and to be talking now about our work lives.
And it's like very interesting because at the beginning we meet at the Union Enterprise movement in Europe, and I was the international treasurer of Jade, and I was living in Brussels, and then you were living in London, if I don't remember, but when you were in the UK, and it was like very interesting because we were students, and then we had this entrepreneurship field, and then we developed our skills in other way, not only studying. But it's interesting life because after 20 years that we meet in Jade, now we are both coaches. Now we are in our own careers. We are independent, and we have companies that we work with. So like it's very interesting how we meet after so long time after this period that we start to have this cooperation in the Union Enterprises movement. So yes, please.
No, I think at the time, I didn't actually have in mind of working independently like I do now. So I did start my career in a corporate world. But now that you remind me, yes, a lot of the things that we talked about were around entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurship spirit, that go-getter mindset, that resilience, powering through things. So yes, good point on connecting that.
One thing that is very interesting, and I include in my conference, is that when we were students and then we were in the Union Enterprise movement, and then we said we want to develop our skills as entrepreneurs, at least for me in Spain, it was not like I want to become an entrepreneur. It will be easy to find a job if I'm an entrepreneur during the time that I'm at the university. So I have the experience, so I develop new skills, so I am more competitive than the other people. And now everything has changed. Now that I'm training at the university, I have some customers that they are startups and everything. The mindset is like very interesting because they are not saying I'm going to be entrepreneur because it will be easy to find a job. It's because I want to be my own boss. And it's only like 20 years that happened. But from the point of view of the culture and the evolution and the society, it's like very interesting how we were, at least in Spain, focusing on, okay, we will have a job. Thank you that we are entrepreneurs. And now it's like, no, we want to be common entrepreneurs, and we want to be successful business owners. And then we want to create the social impact because we are creating a company that never have we had before, no? So it's like very interesting, that part.
Yeah, I think we never know what we can develop into until we actually get there.
So in that part, Desi, if we speak about the habits that you have in your life, that you have developed in the last 20 years, that you have implemented in your career profession as a coach, as an independent, and that you work with so many international organizations, do you have this habit, this roadmap that is helping you every day to be focused, to have clarity, to work in your career for succeed?
Yes, so thank you for asking that. And I like to call these things not habits because they sound sometimes very tedious, but rather rituals, because that's a lot more exciting and meaningful for me. So one of the rituals that really transforms the way that I operate is having a dedicated morning ritual, in which I review very briefly, my annual goals, my quarterly goals, my daily goals, in within 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say, okay, what am I going to focus on today? What are the top 3 things? And then I have a specific thing depending on the day or the week of the month that I actually do. So it's a very simple Excel list, But this two things for me. The first thing is that every single day I am reminded of my overall purpose and my overall objective. So where am I going longer term? And so this helps me to stay on track. It also helps me to get rid of things that aren't really taking me to that vision, and also to persevere through some of the more tedious or difficult things I need to do today for the sake of that long-term vision. So that's one thing. And then the second thing that this ritual does is really to focus me on what are the three things for today and in what order, right? And so there is not as much thinking and re-challenging the strategy on a daily basis, but actually there's clarity of execution. You know, there is time for reviewing that. That's once a quarter, once a year, but on a daily basis, I found it very helpful to not question everything over and over again, which is what I used to do in the very beginning.
And I think that this is something that sometimes happen to us, that we have like so many things that we want to do, or we don't have the experience, so we move from one part to another. And now you say I have the clarity. I know what I have to do. I do my priorities. What is the most important thing to do? And I check. And it's like this simple spreadsheet where you can like mark, I accomplish, I don't, what I have to do differently. So in that part, how is possible, or how do you manage your life, like the working life, the personal life, now that you are like moving from one country to another? So how do you manage with this situation, that because now we are not anymore entrepreneurs as students, we have our businesses, we are creating, we are helping so many companies around the world. So for you, what is this, how do you manage the balance between your life and then your career?
It's a difficult balance, if I'm honest. And I think for a long time, I wanted to find a formula that would work for me. You know, is it I work, 7 days a week and then take a massive holiday in summer? Is it that I work 4 days a week? Is it that I work a regular working hours? So I really wanted to find something fixed and kind of have the peace of mind of that. But over time, I realized that that doesn't quite suit as much as I thought, right? And so, for example, what I find much more useful now is having a more flexible approach. Okay, so for example, if there are certain weeks where, for example, I am unwell, then maybe I will work a little bit every day. Or I will just not work at all, and then I will work on the weekend, and I don't mind that because there's a design behind it, there's a purpose behind it. Other weeks, for example, I'm in a great space, and I work a lot of hours because I have an inspiration coming, and I don't want to lose that inspiration. The creativity is sparkling, and I am obsessed by whatever project I'm working on, and I'm fully into it. And so I allow myself to work very late hours because I want to do that, and it's productive to do that, right? For that specific time. And then, for example, if I combine travel with working, then I try to take, for example, a 3-day weekend so that I can enjoy the surroundings and what is there, take inspiration from the travels, and import that into my working week, which may be a 4-day week this week. So my point here is, what I've learned is that it serves me better to be a little bit more flexible and adapt to whatever situation is happening, to when I'm most productive, to when my clients need me. That I find is, gives better results and better output than actually fixing myself. And I mean, we did leave the corporate world, and now as entrepreneurs, we take a lot of risk to do the work that we do. And so in my opinion, it makes sense to utilize the flexibility as well. Otherwise, we have only risk and we're not using the flexibility.
And this is something very important from the point of view of mindset, no? Because when we are employees, it's like, okay, we have an order in our life, so we have like the security, and then we know the plan, and then we know like what is going to happen with our career if we continue in that company. But as entrepreneurs, it's like you have to be flexible. You cannot be, oh no, my life is like that. But if one thing is not working, you have to change. If the situation of your leadership is not the one that you want to achieve in your startup, you have to do something different. And I think that this is like very important because so many times the people say, no, no, I want to become an entrepreneur, but I want to plan everything on my life with a schedule, and I'm not going not to move. And at the end, it's like, okay, you will have to move because there are so many things that you don't know that is going to happen. So in that part, Desi, if we speak about your history, because you have an amazing history, you have an amazing experience, you have been traveling and living in different countries. So what will be your life in 1 minute? If we speak about the history of Desi in 1 minute, what do you want to share with us?
Whoa, that I think is a tough question in 1 minute. So let me start first with who I am, and then I'll give you a little bit of the history. So
Okay.
I would say that I am an eternal optimist. I have a lot of energy, I have a lot of passion, I have a lot of curiosity for how we operate as human beings and who we are. And I allow this energy and this curiosity to lead me on my career journey. So my career has started, I am Bulgarian by nationality. I lived there when I was a child. I then lived in Bahrain and studied there. I then studied in Edinburgh University, in HEC in Paris, which is the university time where we met, and then worked for Procter & Gamble in London. So yes, very different experiences. I used to do marketing in Procter & Gamble and capability development. And that part, the capability development, which was 20% of my work, is what opened the door for me to enter into this professional development world of coaching. So I'm very grateful for that. And it has been multiple years that I now focus on leadership coaching and navigating complex change. So post-merger integration, org restructures, and very importantly, bringing in all of the personal experiences, struggles, and challenges and lessons into the work that I do. So that's in a nutshell.
So in that part, it's like very interesting because you say, okay, I was working on marketing, now I'm working on leadership, focusing on complex changes on the organization. So in that part, now you have the opportunity to speak with yourself like 5 years ago and say, okay, Desi, more than speaking about that if COVID is coming or Bitcoin is going to rise to $72,000, what will be the advice or what will be this message that you will say, Desi, it's an amazing life that you have. What is this key message that you will share in this phone call with yourself 5 years ago?
I think there's multiple things that I would tell my 5-year younger self, because of course I have made a lot of mistakes along the way and learned a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things I would tell my younger self is to think big and not to limit myself. I fundamentally believe that a lot of our limitations come from our own mind, our own mindset, and being afraid that something isn't possible or that it doesn't exist. And then later on, doing it and realizing, oh, it not only exists, it is accessible, it is very possible. Other people are doing that, and it becomes the norm. But I would give that advice to myself of opening up the mindset of what is possible and not limiting myself.
And I think that this is like very interesting because there are so many things that we have the doubt or we don't know what is going to happen. But at the end, we try to do, and then we say, okay, I make so many mistakes, I'm going to do another way. And after you find a way, a strategy that is working for you. And one thing that I was speaking in other podcasts, it was like very interesting because the person say, if you don't like the life that you have at this moment, is because you are doing or you are having the blueprint of another person, not your blueprint. And this is something that when you have the clarity, when you know exactly what you want, and you say, okay, let's go to think bigger, let's go to think smarter, let's go to do actions in a better way, let's be more productive, so we have more time for the most important things. And the most important things is not to have more time to work more, is to spend the time with the persons that you love, is the time that you have for yourself, is the time that you have to learn something new. So in that part, as a coach, Desi, what do you offer to your customers? Why one company is arriving and say, okay, Desi, I need your services on leadership, I need your experience, consultancy on doing this change on my organization. So what is the thing that you are helping organizations in order to be more efficient, to grow, to scale, to make this complex change in an easy way?
Yeah. So I work with teams and leaders to help them navigate complex change, and complex change being a combination of three levels of change. First level being global change, so pandemic, post-pandemic, some of the situations that are happening in the world right now. Organizational level change, which is post-merger integration, organizational restructure, or big business transformation. And then the third level of change, individual level of change, where a leader gets promoted to a much more senior role or moves cross-culturally and needs to completely switch mindset. So whenever there is a combination of global, organizational, and personal change is where companies reach out to me. So most often when there's a merger, acquisition, or when there's an org restructure. These are situations with high uncertainty, high anxiety. It's not clear what's going to happen. A lot of people begin to become anxious, to panic. A lot of top talents consider leaving, often eventually do leave the company. So there's a lot to lose in this critical moment. The specific moment that companies partner with me is usually they have worked with, financial advisors or HR advisors, consultants on the blueprint of the organization, on the strategy for change, how to communicate that. So they have a clear picture of that. Often they have implemented that structural change. But suddenly they find themselves in a position where people in their minds haven't moved. People haven't changed. People are still talking about company A and company B when actually they don't exist, and now it's a merger of company C. And so the part where people need to mentally and emotionally make the leap, take the change, accept, acknowledge the change, work with the change, that is where I come in. And so I take all the work that has been done by the change management consultants. I partner with consultants like that. And then I help the teams and leaders to make the mental and emotional step forward.
So in that part, Desi, one thing that you say is very important is, okay, I'm going to help you to change, to move to the from the point of view of the mindset. We don't have the company A, we don't have the company B. Now it's a company new that is the C. So there are the people normally they don't like the change because it's like, no, I don't know what is going to happen. Maybe the situation is going to be different, all the compensation and everything. So how we manage with this resilience with people and to align with the culture of the new organization in order to fit everything and that works?
Yeah, this is a very big and complex question, but when it comes and you talk about resilience, so I think one of the biggest sticking points that I see of organizations and people going through change is waiting for something external in order to feel better or to be happy, right? So let's say an organizational restructure gets announced without any detail and people begin to worry and panic. And then they say, okay, when I know what my next role in the organization is going to be, then I will relax, then I will be at peace, then I will be focused. So that point arrives and they have the clarity of their next role. And immediately there's another bit of uncertainty or change. And so this is a perpetual cycle of change. Change is something that is constant. And so waiting for somebody or something to give you clarity and peace of mind, this is an illusion and it doesn't work. And so if we take the angle of resilience that you mentioned, when I work with my clients, we use the change curve, which is an adaptation of the grief curve by Kubler-Ross. And the curve, goes up in excitement or in fear, then goes down through the dip, which is the worst part where you think the world is ending. And then gradually people learn and grow out of that. Now, that curve, we need to draw multiple curves consecutively, because that is the nature of reality. That is the nature of life and work and corporate world and entrepreneurship. There's changes happening one after the other and also together. And so when we take a mindset of waiting for something or somebody, we're continuously disappointed and continuously living in fear and anxiety. Conversely, when we take a mindset of resilience and of acceptance that there will be always ups and downs, we can relax now. We can focus on storing up positive energy, on allowing the things that we do not control to be as they are, and then refocusing our attention and energy on what can I do? What is my point of power? What is my choice today? What can I control? That, I think, is very powerful and the most forgotten part of all navigating change processes in the corporate world today.
And I think that you say something like very important, because the importance of, okay, I have to be calm, I have to be relaxed, I have to find another way. Einstein say, I cannot solve any problem if I'm in the same mindset that the one that create this problem. We have to change to another level. And this is something very interesting from the point of view that people say, okay, I'm so stressed, I have to find a solution. But if you are in the mood of the overwhelm or stress, you are not going to find a solution, because you are in a mood that is not helping you to find this solution. So in that part, if we speak about one challenge that for you was like the harder, or was like the more challenging thing that you had in your career, what was the thing that you had as entrepreneur from the corporate world when you started your own company and your own activity as a coach? And how do you solve this? No, because now you say, okay, this is the strategy. I have to be relaxed. I have to calm. I'm going to find the solution, and I'm going to connect. But from the point of view of this personal challenge or professional challenge that you had in your life, what was the challenge and how do you solve it?
Yeah. So what comes to mind is a challenge that is fairly common for coaches, I would say, which is talking about pricing. Now, when I used to work at Procter & Gamble, I used to sell Olay skincare, Herbal Essences shampoo, or we used to market that. So that was all right because I had a budget, I had a team, and I was talking about the benefits of a product. Now, as an independent coach, the benefits of the services is really me. So selling myself was challenging. It was very uncomfortable. I, like many other coaches, was terrified of how can I price, what kind of pricing should I have? Also, how do I tell the client that they have to pay? And what if it's too expensive? What if they run away? And I really struggled on every level when it comes to this. The impact that this not resolving this in the beginning had was that I wasn't really able to, develop my business in the same way. I think it erodes a little bit of the confidence that the client sitting in front of you has, because the client expects there is a price and they expect a certain range, and they don't expect this to be for free, because nobody values things which are for free. So there was some lack of credibility and a lot of hesitation in the start with that for quite some time, if I have to be honest. The way that I addressed this was to say, what if I approach this matter of pricing and talking about money from a principle point of view. Something, again, that I learned in P&G, to operate in a principle-based manner. So I asked myself, what are my principles? Let's say in regards to pricing, and then what are my principles and values as a person and as a business person? And so one of the principles is transparency. I'm very open, very transparent. I believe in honesty and directness. One of my principles is fairness. That's really important for me. And one of my principles is value. I'm here to create something of value. I want to be rewarded for that value, right? And I want to be challenged to deliver more value. And so I combine those principles and I apply them to my pricing. So my pricing is transparent, fair, and value-based, which means my pricing is published on my website for everybody to see, something that almost no coach does this. Secondly, my pricing is fair. So it doesn't matter where the client is coming from in the world, who the client is, this is the price. If you sign today and you take this service, this is the price. I don't negotiate on my price. I don't bargain, because I prefer to spend more time discussing how can I add more value to you and not bargaining. It does mean that I will not work with some clients, right? And that's okay. I can't work with everybody. I'm one person with a partner network, so it's impossible to serve the whole world. And the third principle, value-based, is recognizing the value that I bring to my clients, right? So what I get paid is a tiny proportion, really, of the benefit and the value that they create in the organization. So navigating that change, retaining top talents, being able to grow in resilience and become better leaders, better teams, better human beings. That is huge value. And so positioning my pricing in a way that reflects that gave me confidence, gave me certainty, and communicates to my clients that I will do a lot of work for them and it will be great work. So this is how I resolved this challenge of what's my pricing and how do I price and how do I talk about it. And so as a result of all of this, now I'm excited. Before I even engage in conversation, I ask my potential clients, please look at my client testimonials. Please look at my rates. There's nothing hidden. Everything is there. And I want you to be aware before we continue to discuss whether we can even work together. It's a relief, honestly. It's a relief. It's a relief for clients. They know where they stand. They know if it's a potential yes, definite yes, or a definite no. It saves time. And I sleep well at night.
And I think that this is something very important because sometimes we don't know how to fix the price, no? And it's like, maybe, okay, I don't know if it's so expensive. As you say, okay, I prefer to be clear and to say that this is my fee and I'm going to work harder for you to give more value than to be cheaper. I had one experience when I don't have a lot of experience and I was starting in the world of the corporates and I was the trainer and I say, okay, I'm doing public speaking trainings. And I arrived to the company and say, okay, my proposal is this. And they say, okay, this is so expensive, thank you very much, but we don't have the budget. So I was, no, please, I want to close the deal. So I reduced like 80% of my rates, and the company was, okay, now you can reduce 80%, so you are not going to give value. What happened with you? So that was the first and the last time that I reduced pricing, because at the end is, okay, I prefer to give you few extra hours. I can give you books. There are so many things that we can do. I can create a chatbot for you. We can spend to do like different strategic sessions before the training. But as you say, this is something that is going to give you like the relax when you go to sleep and say, okay, this is my price, this is my value. I will work harder for you, but not competing on pricing, or when we are offering services. If we have a product, okay, maybe it's possible, maybe it will be other strategy. But if you are offering a very good, valuable service, you have to say, okay, this is that amount of money. I'm going to charge you this because it's the value that is going to give you to you. And I think that is something that so many people, they don't know until they have like 20, 15 years of experience and say, now I'm going to mark my pricing and I'm going to publish because this is something that I'm going to charge the same to any customer that is going to buy the services right now. So in that part, Desi, if you are doing so many amazing things and cooperating with so many organizations and doing a very impact in their companies. So if we speak about everything that you are doing as coach, what is the most passionate thing that you love the most in all the activities that you do, like all the day?
Ooh, we talk about passion. One of my favorite things, and it actually ties back to the rituals question or the habits question in the beginning. One of my favorite things is my opening ritual for every coaching session, which is, what is one thing that you're celebrating about your growth since our last session? So that focus on celebration, on acknowledgement. When the clients first start working with me, they think it's a bit weird or they find nothing to celebrate. They feel like in the last 2 weeks, nothing amazing happened, so it's not even worth mentioning. But I challenge them. Give me one, even small thing, small learning, something you want to celebrate or, okay, acknowledge yourself or be grateful for about yourself. Then over time, when we repeat this, and usually I work with clients kind of, 1 to 2 sessions per month. Over several months, a couple of magical things happen. One, the clients come prepared with what are they celebrating? And they get excited. So there's more positive energy created. 2, outside of the coaching session, they're actively looking for and creating things that they will be proud to celebrate later. So it's a reinforcing cycle. And at the end of coaching, they always tell me they can't believe how cumulative the effect of celebration has been and how much they actually realize they have achieved, how proud they are of themselves and how far they have gone and how infrequently they stop to reflect on that. Now, as I do that with my clients, I also have the due diligence to do that with myself. And so I'm a big celebrator of all things personal and professional. And that is my favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the work that I do, pausing and reflecting and acknowledging myself and my clients for the journey that we have gone through.
So in that part, if we speak about this process and then you speak about celebrating all the achievements that we can do in the process, and then they are very happy and excited because they say, we have achieved. So if you have the opportunity to say, okay, Desi, I have like 50 people that they love you, that they love the work that you are doing. They are entrepreneurs around the world, and I'm going to send in one plane to your place. So in the next event that you have with a company, they will support you in any way. What will be like this amazing thing that you say, okay, I have now 50 people that they are going to support me in this amazing event that I have with this customer, and we are going to celebrate all the success. What will be like the main action that you will say, okay, I want to delegate with you this action in order that this event is going to be the most amazing. So the company is going to vibrate in other energy. They are going to be passionate about the achievement that they have achieved with your training, coaching during the last 6 months. And now is like the big celebration.
So if I think about the
most amazing people that they love you, they are your fans, they comment all your posts, and now we can meet all of them and say, okay, we have a sponsor, blah, blah, blah. Airlines is going to send you one plane with these amazing people that they follow you, and now they will be with you so excited because we are here with Desi, and finally we meet, and then they will support you for one day with this customer in order to make the most valuable experience for the customer.
So the question is, what would I want these people to help me with?
Yes, during this one day with your customer.
Okay. So I think yeah, I mean, if I'm thinking, how can I leverage the network that I have, or these people that want to support me to add more value to the clients that I work with. I think one part of that would be some way of tracking and recording their journeys, right? Something that popped into my mind as you were talking is a lot of the work that I do is very private, right? One-on-one coaching is completely confidential. Team coaching, of course, also within the team is very confidential. So it's not it's not a public exercise. It's not an open event and things like that. It's very intimate and private and very deep. I think within that context, it would be really beautiful to have people who can help me, help me and these clients to record their journey, to track their journey. Often what I see is I'll start working with a team, they'll make huge improvements, and then they just take that improvement for granted, So how can somebody help me to track and to record and help them to record? Is it through doing video interviews before, after, during, doing digital diaries? I don't know. These are the kind of things that I'm thinking about. But really, how do we help the client to track their progress, to mark their celebrations, to acknowledge themselves, and to be able to visualize the transformation that they have gone through on a team level, on an individual level.
And I think that this is something like very interesting because sometimes we forget to record everything, and you say, I had one customer that say, "Oh, Agustin, can you help me to develop a few motivational videos as the experience of my training?" I said, "Yes, of course, I can do. No, it's one of the services that we do." So it was like very interesting because the person sent me pictures where the people were like sleeping, they were not participating. No, and I say, how I'm going to make a motivational video with these pictures that they are not recording, no, all the emotional moments that they have. People cry, people stand up, no, jump, no, celebrate, so many activities. So this is something like very important, as you say. We have to record, we have to see the previews, we have to see what happened after, because that it will give us credibility. That will we can create a very amazing video. This is the journey that you had with us. So we are going now to help you in other steps. So we have the first step, now we are going to do the second step, but now globally, no? There are so many things that we can show in that process. So Desi, there are any main question that you ask yourself like every day as a leader, as a coach, as a trainer, as an entrepreneur that is helping to growth in your career from the last 10 years?
I ask myself a lot of questions,
And
Agus,
the most
honestly.
important, the one you say, this is the one that changed my life, everything that I'm doing, like anything.
If we talk about life-changing questions, I would say, what if this wasn't true?
Okay.
So when I'm facing a situation, of course, naturally, I'm working with a lot of assumptions, a lot of limitations, a lot of baggage that I bring from previous experiences. And so when I ask myself, what if this wasn't true? This is a very eye-opening, mind-opening question, right? Going back to the pricing discussion that we had, if I put this price, let's say that I assumed if I put a price of $10, let's say instead of $1, no client will ever work with me. Limitation. Then asking, what if this wasn't true? Starts to move me away from the price point and move me towards, well, how can I make it worth the $10 instead of $1? What can I give more of myself? Who do I need to become? How do I need to train myself and really step up in what I deliver to do that? So instead of, oh, this is not possible, it's asking, well, how could it be possible? So yeah, what if this wasn't true? This is the question that has helped to make me very uncomfortable and as a result to help me grow.
So in that part, we call 100xpreneur because we focus on the mindset, we focus on the strategy. There are so many things that we see on this podcast. So if we speak about this 100x philosophy that is going to help Desi to grow to the next level and to achieve all the results that you have overcome in the last 15 years, now you can overcome and achieve in only 1 year. So it's like I'm going to grow 100x on my business, on my person as a leader. What will be the change? What will be this next challenge that you say, okay, if I will move forward to 100x in mindset, in results, in incomes, in team. So, what will be for you the most important thing and the challenging part to say, okay, I'm going to have this 100x mindset in order to go to the next level of my organization?
Yeah, I think as coaches, our time is a valuable resource, and you know that there's when you work independently and there's only one of you, there's only so much that you can do. And so for me, any transformation that would be multiplying the impact that I have would be connected with partners, right? I already work with some partners that work on change management consulting side. I work with some partners that work on the change coaching side. But really my exploration would be, how do I scale up through others, through partnerships? How do we grow together? Because alone is very difficult in the kind of work that I'm doing now. So I would look at, how do I step change these partnerships to really maximize them? What other partnerships I do need, and what does that look like? You know, I don't necessarily want to be employing people and having a huge fixed team. I think large companies are moving away from that and working more in partnerships and networks. So I would be looking at that. How do I expand the network of partnerships? How do I deepen that and expand that to grow?
So in that part, Desi, where are you in 5 years? If you say, okay, now I have this mindset, I have this goal, I have my very clear quarterly objective, my monthly objective, what I have to do every week. So if you continue working with the same roadmap, with the same strategy, improving your career, training yourself, developing new skills, what will be, where are you, Desi, in 5 years? Where will we meet you?
Well, we can make a second round of interview in 5 years' time. In 2029, one of my dreams, let's say professionally, is to work on very high profile, high complexity change, right? With teams that have a lot at stake. There's a lot to lose. There's also a lot to gain. So deeply complex projects where people are afraid of the change, they're afraid of the complexity. I work in some kind of course, in this context right now, but I think specializing in that even more, because I thrive on a difficult challenge. I thrive when I see all the complexity, all the challenges, and I would love to work on projects that challenge me in this way, that are critical, that are high profile, that are interesting and curious and different maybe than what I've worked on so far. So challenge is where I'm thinking.
And in that part, Desi, are you going to return to Edinburgh? Are you going to live in Bali? Are you going to return to Emirates Arabs? Where are you going to be? Oh, we don't know yet.
So I am based in Dubai and I remain based there. And from time to time, I do travel to expand my horizons and to expand my perspective. So I think that's something that really works for me. I love Dubai. I love the Emirates. I love the vision that is there. Of course, that gives me access to Saudi Arabia as well, where I also have some projects in the region as a whole, Kuwait. So yes, Middle East really is my home, I would say. And beyond that, reaching out and connecting with the rest of the world is very possible.
Well, one thing that it was like very interesting, I meet one girl in the podcast that she's called Krista Romano, and she was like traveling around the world, like 60 countries in only 5 years. So it was like she was living for a few months and then few weeks, and then others only like for few days, no? But at the end, she was like moving a lot. And when she arrived to Bali, she said, "Oh my God, this is like the most amazing place that I live in my life. I want to become an entrepreneur from here, and I will do everything from Bali." And now I think that she's still living there. So it was like very interesting because after she moved from so many places, I meet my place. I continue traveling because I'm not going to stop. But now my residence, I move to another country, and I love this one. So I think that sometimes happen that no, we at least we meet one city, or we miss one place that we say, okay, we are very happy to be here, to love this new culture, to expand. And there are other ways that we say, okay, now I'm going to move from one place to another because it's something that is moving me to take actions, to get improved, and to think in other way. So in that part, Desi, where we can find you? Do you have social media? Are you more like active on LinkedIn? Are you creating content on Instagram? Where we can find you?
Yes, thanks for asking. You can find me on LinkedIn. Every month, I talk about different themes within navigating change and transition. So, for example, now is the month of March. 8th of March was International Women's Day. And so I always link that to self-empowerment. How can you empower yourself? Next week, we have a webinar. I don't know when this is airing, but within every month I have a webinar with my business partner, Tanya, where we go more in depth in the theme of the month. So yes, the place to find me is LinkedIn, Desi Jagger. And I also have an email newsletter called Letters from Desi, where you can subscribe, and every month you get in your inbox insights and tools to help you navigate complex change in your professional and personal life.
Amazing, Desi. So in that part, to conclude and to say goodbye to all the friends that they are listening, and all the community of 100xpreneur, if we have this last message to share with everyone that is listening, maybe can be a possible customer, maybe can be a possible subscriber in your newsletter, or maybe can be a new person that is going to follow you, what will be the message that you want to share with them before we close this episode?
Yeah. The message I would want to share is open your mind to the fact that change is constant, and changing yourself begins with changing your mindset.
So thank you very much, Desi, for being today in 100xpreneur. It has been a pleasure to have you here and to meet again after a long time since we meet in the European Confederation of Enterprise. And thank you very much to everyone that is listening today, 100xpreneur. Please follow our social media, share this amazing podcast with Desi today in your social networks, and keep in touch, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
100xpreneur. Boost your entrepreneurial success. Fuel your entrepreneurial fire. Daily growth hacks and strategies are just a 100xpreneur episode away.